saying this morning about offering like, to the morning Vaishnava. So one of the unfortunates that aren't really in temple life, what is it to see when you're in your own home offering Shimoti or whatever we do it?
It's the same. The Siddhanta remains the same whether we're in the temple or our house. As do our ideals, as do our aspirations, as do our affections. But the practical application or expression of that is no doubt adjusted in different places. And generally speaking, there's a known distinction in styles of puja. I don't know where these terms come from exactly, if they're in a scripture or just used by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But there's two notions of puja. One is called Rājā seva, one is called bhava seva. And typically, Rājā seva is found in a mott or a temple. Bhava seva is found in a home. As you're familiar with the word Rājā, means a king or a lord or a master. So in the notion of Rājā seva, there is many formal and grand aspects. So in the standard of puja of Rājā seva, then what is offered must be offered every day. Typically there's a particular standard of offerings and they must be made every day. And once you start that, you had better have made due arrangements to be able to maintain that. That's the vrata or the vow or the form of dedication that the path one is walking on to begin that type of seva. And that can sometimes be a great challenge. Srila Gurudev, he had a phrase in English, in Bengali, Vigraha, Nigraha, Galagraha. Like a play on words. Right? Vigraha we know means deity. Nigraha means neglect. And Galagraha means a heavy burden on the back of your neck or your shoulders. So he said, many people, sometimes he would comment, especially he would make this point when a person would come to him for blessings to start worshipping a deity. He said, you're thinking Vigraha is so beautiful, so nice, we will have a very happy life doing this puja. But when the novelty, the excitement, the initial thrill of the practice wears off, and maybe some of the people who promise to help with you, maybe they don't. Maybe the house you had or the rent you paid or the job maybe they're gone. Then some subtly or grossly, knowingly or unknowingly, gradually some nigraha, some neglect or some slackening of your standard and the quality of your service will go on. And a combination of unpredicted or difficult circumstances with this slackening mentality, then what started out as the divine form of the Lord starts to feel like this difficult burden on your back. So often Srila Gurudev, he would say, be very careful, be very sure about what you're doing before you enter into that. In other words, don't take it lightly. Once I heard one devotee comment, he said that when he was first joining and beginning to learn about Krishna consciousness, he had some friends and they told him, oh, you have to offer what you cook to Krishna. And he said, oh, well, how do I do that? He said, oh, well, you have to have deities. He said, okay. He doesn't know what is deity, what is puja, what is all these teachings. He's completely new. Okay. Here we have some. Take these. Okay. Then he starts in his house doing some stuff. Then he's around a little longer. Then he starts learning the rules, so many things about deity worship. And he realizes, whoa, I didn't know what I was getting into. I can't worship them properly. I shouldn't have them anymore. So then he thought, oh, well, I'll go to the temple. I'll leave them at the temple where there are devotees who can worship them properly. And he thought, this is the right thing to do, this is the safe thing to do, I'm not fit. I'll give them to the good devotees at the temple who can do nicely. And then once he's writing a letter to Srila Govinda Maharaj, and he's mentioning other matters. This is not the most prominent matter he's, bringing up in his letter. Maybe in passing he also mentions, I'm going to leave some other deities at this temple of yours. And then he was very surprised when he received that response to the letter. And, more or less to the effect, Gurudev said, a temple is not, a landfill for deities. A place where you can just, go, So then he thought, oh my God, I really didn't know what I was getting into. And then I don't remember what he did after that. He found a friend who would serve, I don't know, whatever he did, something else. But just an example of Gurudev's Vigraha, Nigraha, Galagraha. I'll come to that in a minute. So, Rājā seva, right? A standard where every day a certain set of things must be given. This is typically found in mats or separate establishments that the primary purpose of which is worship. Now, second mode, bhava seva. Okay. Summarized by Srila Gurudev, whatever you cook, offer to Giriraj. If you didn't cook anything, then there's nothing to offer. And not like, I'm saying that's okay. Like that's the idea. Just, you do what you do, and whatever comes to you that's of value, you offer it to Giriraj, and then take prasad. That's it. Just according to the natural flow of life and service and events, whatever comes to you, you offer it and take prasad. This is another standard. And this was actually the standard followed in the early days of the Chaitanya Saraswat Math here. Right, once we heard someone asking Srila Gurudev about Chaturmasya. During the first month of Chaturmasya, Vaishnavas do not take shak. So then one devotee, they said, Gurudev, when the devotees aren't taking shak, who takes the prasadam of shak that's offered to the deities? They're thinking in the mode of Rājā seva. Every day shak is offered to the deities. Then every day there's some shak prasadam there. If all the Vaishnavas are fasting from shak, then who's taking that shak? Are you just burying it in the ground, or are you giving it to the cows? What do you do? And Gurudev said, well, in the time of Guru Maharaj, there just was no shak. Like, we just didn't cook shak, because we're all fasting from it. Right? So that's an example of this bhava seva standard, where if it's not, for whatever reason, be it a fast or a scriptural rule or circumstance, if we didn't prepare it, then it's not being offered, and there's no fault in that. Right? The foundation of deity worship is this Archa avatar, as they say, this avatar of the Lord in deity form. He is, right, the cause of all causes, the controller of this world, the supreme almighty Lord by whose sweet will all things happen. So, if in the course of your service and your worship and your following of rules or whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't have anything to offer that day, he definitely knows why. It's not like he doesn't understand what's going on. It's not like he's unaware of the circumstances you're in, or your mentality, or the way you aspire to serve him. So this type of bhajan was found also in the higher devotees of Vrindavan and the Goswamis. Examples of Sanatan Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, I think Gopal Bhatta Goswami in the earlier times. Things went on in this way. So according to one's adhikar, according to one's qualification, according to one's circumstances, according to one's inspiration to serve, or according to the guidance of Guru and Vaishnava, one will enter into worship in a particular method. Right? You can read a manual about puja that will take days to understand and weeks to practice and memorize the mantras and the procedures and so many things. Or in the other extreme, right? Once someone said, Gurudev, I have Giriraj in my house. How should I worship him? And Gurudev said, whatever you cook, put it on a plate in front of Giriraj and say, Giriraj, you take. Then you can have prasadam. Idam naivedyam maya. Actually, the meaning is the same thing. Right? All these, all these puja, mul mantras, all these, here is some flowers, here are some fruits, they are for you. It's really all that's being said in the terms of a concept with so many of the mantras that are used in the process of puja. And moreover, right, we're told that the power, the connecting thread and significant aspect of puja is the name of the Lord within all of the mantras used for all of the offerings. So, Giriraj you take, right, is replete with the holy name as much as, so many other things are. We heard one phrase quoted from Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Gurudev. Murko varanti Vishnaya, Dhiros varanti Vishnave, Ubayastu saman punyam, bhavagrahi janardana. Says that an illiterate person will say Vishnaya, but a learned person will say Vishnave. Right, when we put on tilak every day, we say Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayanaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, and then Om Vishnave Namaha. And then Om Madhusudanaya, Trivikramaya, Vamanaya, Sridharaya, Hrishikeshaya, Padmanabhaya, Damodharaya, Vasudevaya. Why is there this one Ve stuck in the middle of that whole list? What's going on here? It doesn't even sound so nice. Vishnave. But, right, according to grammar, then words that end in different vowels use different suffixes, or I don't know what they're called, verbal stems or whatever, I don't know the technical terms. And a word that ends in an A, right, if you want to put this dative case on the end of it to indicate, that you're presenting it unto someone with respect, then when a word ends in A, then you put this aya on the end. So Krishna becomes Krishnaya. However, when a word, according to Sanskrit grammar, when a word ends in a U instead of an A, then you put a Ve on there instead of an aya. So Vishnave is equivalent to Krishnaya, but because they end with different vowels, the stem or the suffix or whatever it's called is different. But this sloka says that someone who knows grammar and is educated, they'll properly say Vishnave when they're reciting mantras. But Murka Varanti Vishnaya. Vishnaya, right? It's a mistake, right? You hear so many aya, oh, Vishnu? Okay, Vishnaya. Right? Some fool or some person who's pretending or doesn't really know properly and maybe making a show, they may use this Vishnaya. But then it says, Ubayastu saman punya. But the value of both of their statements is the same. Bhavagrahi Janardana. Krishna, he consumes bhav. He consumes affection, love, devotion. That affection can be expressed through a Vishnaya, it can be expressed through a Vishnave, it can be expressed by a you take, it can be expressed, it's not confined by language. So this sloka is saying, right, that the Lord knows the heart of the worshipper. And that's really what is relishable and appreciable to Him. So, as we were mentioning, right, in the standard of bhava seva, the Lord knows what you have the facilities or don't have the facilities to provide or offer. And He's pleased by the love with which you express your offerings, more so than the degree, the price tag on what you put on the altar. We could come up, we could take snapshots and make estimates. Okay, this offering, well, the flour costs this much and the oil costs this much. I think this is, 2,500 rupee Rajbhog offering today. I remember once I had to go to one meeting for arrangement of one festival in Mayapur. And we were inviting people to the inauguration of an Ekachakra temple. And then one devotee, he's like coming to me like a little on the side, like, yo. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, you know, you're installing deities there? I said, yeah. And he said, oh, you're making some new outfits? I said, yeah, the devotees are making some outfits. And then he's like, 1 lakh? 2 lakhs? Like, what kind of outfit are you making? And I said, I didn't answer like immediately. And he's like, I don't remember, or some recent festival they had in their temple, 4 lakhs. And I'm like, wow, Prabhu. So some, they may run in this direction. No problem, right? I mean, we're laughing, but it's not bad per se. It's a way by which, you know, a desire to serve is expressed. However, right, we can take the example of Sudama Vipra or Shuklambar Brahmachari, Sridhar Pandit, right, where the Lord is more satisfied by, you know, 2 handfuls of old cracked chira in a dirty white piece of cloth that he eats dry than he is by all the fruits on the perfumed plate from the lotus hand with bracelets, rings, right, perfect silk, right, hand of Rukmini Devi. And Krishna is, you know, preferring this, you know, from the not even the hand of Sudama Vipra, right, from the roll in his pocket. Not the plate extended to him on from the perfumed lotus hand of the queen. But from the cracked, dry chira that's not even offered to him, that he's saying, hey, what's that in your pocket? And he grabs the chira in the first handful. Rukmini can hear the crunch. She can feel the hard chira entering his gentle belly, his soft belly, and these hard particles of chira entering like sharp knives into his delicate abdomen. She's thinking, how will he digest this? Then he takes the second handful. It's coming close. Right? But she grabs his hand. She looks at him in the eyes with an innocent look. And she also shoots a look at the other queens nearby. And he puts it down. With her eyes, she said to Krishna, this is not befitting for you. We've prepared so many wonderful things for you to accept today. And with a slight blink and shyness also conveyed by her eyes, she said, I'm your Lakshmi, and you give your wealth, in other words, me, to whoever makes an offering to you. If you take his entire offering, which amounts to all the wealth he has in this world, and he's a completely poor Brahmin, then you'll need to give all of your wealth to him in return. I'll no longer be able to stay with you here in Dwaraka. And to the other queens, she shoots a look, right? Saying, I cannot tolerate these sort of uncooked grains entering the lotus mouth of Krishna. Just think about his pearl-like teeth. Just think about his delicate abdomen. It's unbearable to think what these uncooked grains will do there. But Krishna, right, is no problem for him. Right? He doesn't just eat the chira. He drinks the water that washes Sudama's feet. The cause of all causes, the God of all gods. He drinks the foot water of his own devotee. Right? The supreme enjoyer, right, shows this type of humility. But his devotees don't need to do such things. Right? Humility makes everything so sweet. When Sudama is leaving, Krishna walks him out on the road. He firmly embraces him. And Sudama floats home. He's walking, but he's floating. Kwaham daridra papiyam pa Krishna Sriniketana bahu brahmabandhu iti smaham bahu bir parirambita. Who am I? I'm a sinner. I'm a fallen soul. I'm a so-called Brahmin. I'm a hypocrite. And who is Krishna? Right? He is the Lord of Lakshmi. Means he is the possessor of all wealth in all spiritual and material worlds. In other words, he is served by the most beautiful expressions of wealth ever known, the queens of Dwaraka. But their perfume, their fanning, the chinkling of their bracelets, right, has no charm for him in comparison to the foot water of his devotee. That Krishna, who's the Lord of all wealth, who's served by innumerable, eternally worshipable, inconceivably loving devotees, that Krishna has embraced this sinful, fallen, hypocritical Brahman. he has firmly embraced him in full with his arms. Holding that embrace in the core of his heart, he's floating down the road. Quantity and quality, form, substance. Right? In preference to the most nectarian, perfectly offered things, Krishna is taking even unacceptable, unoffered things. Right? When someone really has love for Krishna, Krishna takes even what they don't offer him. Right? Vidura's wife is another example. Patram pushpam phalam toyam nyume bhakta prayashyati taraham bhakti paritam ashnami prayatatmana. Whatever you give me, I will take. Whatever devotion that you offer me, I will show such devotion to you. This is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's analysis. That in the Gita, it's not only saying that the devotee will offer to the Lord with love and devotion, but that the Lord will accept that offering with love and devotion. It means He'll reciprocate with the devotee's devotion. And he also commented, right, the word ashnami, the most literal meaning given in the dictionaries is eat. So Krishna is saying, what you offer me, I'll eat it. Patram, I'll eat the leaves that you offer me. Okay, no problem. We know Krishna takes shak. It's very dear to him. Phalam, fruits. We know Krishna likes fruits. Toyam, water. We know Krishna drinks water. But Patra pushpa, but pushpa, flowers, He'll eat those? Vishwanath Chakravarti says, if they're offered with love and devotion, he may be so captivated by that devotee's offering that to please them, he may even eat flowers they give him. Again, he ate Vidura's wife's binoculars. So, throughout eternity, throughout the histories of this world, the glory of the Lord's quality of being bhava, being affectionate to His devotees, is sung and celebrated anywhere. But as we were discussing this morning, that not only does Krishna have so much appreciation for Vaishnavas, but he expects you to have such appreciation also. You'll hear, oh, Krishna is so glorious, he's so affectionate to his devotees. What is your conclusion? Okay, I'll worship Krishna, he's so great. And you won't ever think that Krishna has so much affection for his devotees. Why is that? Who are they? How worshipful are they? How wonderful are they? How pleasing would it be to Krishna if I also showed some love and devotion to his devotee? Sadly, right, this doesn't come to everyone. But in the line of Mahaprabhu, we are blessed with such emphasis. Mahaprabhu himself and his devotees giving repeatedly in Charitamrita emphasis, scriptural quotation, the importance of Vaishnava seva, the extreme statement of Krishna himself. Mad bhaktam, vajay bhaktam, tame bhaktam. Those who are devoted to my devotee are my best devotees. Those who can appreciate me, alright, so be it. But those who can appreciate me and my devotees, they're my favorite. They're the best. So as it says throughout Chaitanya Bhagavat, by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, you can appreciate Nityananda Prabhu. And by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, you can realize more and more the glory of Mahaprabhu. Interconnected, eternally. Each one supporting the other. Each one increasing more and more. Not reducible. So also, in the course of our puja, this principle is expressed. Actually, all of the aspects of the formal aspects of the Vaishnava culture are expressions of Siddhanta. They're not reducible, nothing is meaningless. And every last detail is an expression of the meaning and the heart of the great devotees. The way we dress, the way we talk, the way we make our temple, the way we perform our worship, every last thing is meaningful and beautiful. And if you say, oh, it's just a ritual, oh, it's just something formal, that means you failed to appreciate the principle behind it. So, as we mentioned this morning, in the process of our offering of bhava, and then bhog is offered to Guru, offered to the Lord, and then is offered to all of the Vaishnavas. Right? Or not so secret, in arati every day, right? We see the pujari offering the article to the deity. And then what does he do? He offers the article to the devotees. It's not like some hidden thing. It's not like anybody's hiding this from you, what's going on behind the closed doors. Every day we see it. That's pleasing to him. Krishna is happy to see the prasadam going out to the devotees. So, the complete package. Or in a more simple sense, I forget, I don't remember, he quoted one sloka or maybe poem, known in Bengali culture. And Bengalis are famous for sweets.
For what?
Sweets! Right? Bengali sweets are famous all over India. And among all types of sweets, among all Bengali sweets, tell me which is the king. He sits saturated in sugar water. Yeah. Sometimes that sugar water is 1/2 to 1. Sometimes it's 1 to 1. Sometimes it's 2 to 1. Means, 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar. What is the, what do you call that? Density, whatever, I don't know the chemistry term. Really extreme, 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water. It looks a little bit, there's still some whiteness in the water. Anyway, the Rājā, he sits in his deep meditation with the sugar water. I'm the Spirit. One time, Shamika Maharaj told me he was taking a rasgulla in front of Gurudev. But he was thinking, ooh, this one's looking very saturated. And so he squeezed out most of the juice and then took. And Gurudev saw that. And Gurudev said, that is not how a gentleman takes a rasgulla. Then he picks up his. He makes sure all the juice So, anyway, another rasgulla talk here. He said that, I don't know the poem, but some poem that says that no one can take rasgullas alone. It just isn't right. They're so sweet. It has to be taken together amongst friends. It has to be shared and taken together. And he said that the person who gets to give rasgullas, what they taste is the sweetest of all. Once, extending the theme on another occasion, he was saying, the person who feeds others, they feel more satisfaction and fulfillment than the people eating. And he said, if you can appreciate this principle, if you can discover that in your life, everything will be fine for you. You'll have a good life. Right? The simple principle. Satisfaction comes from giving, from sacrifice, from service, not from taking, consuming, getting, accumulating. Or at least in America they have a common saying, right? It is better to give than receive. So applied to spiritual things, applied to Krishna consciousness, this principle, it runs. And not only for jivas, it applies to Krishna himself. And Krishna, no doubt, he's the ultimate consumer. as Srila Sridhar said, no doubt he shamelessly announces in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta prabhureva cha. Every single yajna is only for me. It's all mine. That's there, no doubt. But our theme today, right, is that Krishna, he also feels satisfaction from giving. He feels perhaps greater satisfaction from reciprocating with his devotees' offerings than he does from simply receiving them. Those who know the heart of Krishna, they will worship him in this way. He is an enjoyer, but perhaps over and above that, right, he's a lover. He relishes love, which is necessarily filled with both give and take. So in the word, Rasa, he is Rasaraj, the king of Rasa. The king of having loving relationships. The king of taking and the king of giving. He can also serve the Vaishnavas better than anybody. There is Mahaprabhu, there is Nityananda Prabhu. In one aspect, he is relishing being worshipped. And in another aspect, he is relishing offering worship. And sometimes the two of them are embracing. And with tears in their eyes, for just temporarily, they're switching roles. Nityananda Prabhu holds up innumerable universes. He is the infrastructure of innumerable temples. He maintains the laws of physics and the cycling of all things in the energy whereby so many offerings can be made to the Lord. And he's the shoes, he's the asana, he's the thread, he's the pillow, he's the bed, he's everything. In all possible ways, he's holding Krishna, providing for Krishna. But sometimes it's too much. That doesn't mean it's too heavy for him. It means it's so ecstatic to get to serve Krishna in this many ways that sometimes he's rolling in ecstasy in the dust. And seeing that Mahaprabhu is picking him up. He who holds up the world sometimes can't manage to even hold up himself. So he knows well what we're capable of, what we're not capable of, and what our ideals and aspirations are. And he's there eager to reciprocate. According to our stage, according to our qualification, he will arrange for what is essential for us to increase our attachment and dedication to him. And at one stage, it is very beneficial to perform seva in this mode of Rājā, where the standard must be maintained. And whatever sacrifice is necessary to uphold the standard, we are ready for that. And if we don't have this and we don't have that, then we gotta scram, we gotta sweat, we gotta do what is necessary to get that. It's necessary. That type of standard of practice is very helpful, very healthy, motivating to develop that spirit of dedication. And that can be a full engagement, so to speak. Or in the other case, someone's primary focus or the maximum direction of their energy and life may be towards the service of a Vaishnava or towards the service of Sri Guru, or to fulfill a particular desire that they have. In which case, their personal emphasis and participation in the seva of the deity may be reduced. This is also not true. Their primary focus may be fulfilling the desire of Gurudev as it's expressed to them. And the maximum of their energy and thought and concentration is going to that. And side by side along the road as they continue, they're continuing to worship the deity, take prasadam, and adhere to the general standard of sadhana. But it may be done in such a way as a strict formal standard of regularity may be not applied. So according to an individual, their qualifications, their circumstances, many things, they will proceed in a particular way. Right? Extreme example of Sanatana Goswami. He is ordered by Mahaprabhu. Right? Composed Hari Bhakti Vilas. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Excuse me, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, sorry. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And, take care of all the Vaishnavas who come to Vrindavan Dham. So, Sanatana is doing that seva. Regularly he is hiking throughout all of Vrindavan and coming to meet the various Vaishnavas under their ashrams or wherever they are. He's composing books, he's giving advice, he's doing so many things. And whatever he takes for his personal need, he offers to his deity. Which was extremely small. A couple of chapatis a day. But then, in this divine pastime, right, the deity after a while, he says, not even salt? And Sanatana says, I'm busy doing all these seva you've given me, where do I have time to get any salt? Then, by the Lord's Maya, one ship comes on the bank of the Jamuna and he's given some, the Lord calls in the salt. And maybe it's at this time or earlier or later, I really don't know. Sanatana is writing the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is filled with the most complicated, expensive rituals you can possibly imagine. make a deity of Krishna with this many kilos of gold, surrounded by this many things, build a temple this tall, bring this many of this many of that, 1,000 of those, do this for 3 hours, make sure that the conjunction between the moon and the stars is at this point, and at that point you fast for 12 minutes. Going on and on and on, my God. It's not even humanly possible to do all this thing. But Sanatan himself is chapati's no salt. Hare Krishna. So, right, stage, necessity, time, circumstance, things take different forms. And they're all appreciable. They all have their value, their role within the whole, the ultimate satisfaction of the Lord, the fulfillment of innumerable souls' desires. So what do you got? You got some energy, you have some enthusiasm?